Hi, I'm Joe, welcome to Rookie Review. This week's movie, Solo, a Star Wars story. Now there will be spoilers, so watch out. It was hard not to go into this movie without the baggage of all the behind-the-scenes drama which seems to have plagued most of the Disney-era Star Wars movies. The offbeat original directing duo of Phil Lord and Christopher Miller being fired and replaced by more conventional choice Ron Howard, rumours of lead Alden Ehrenreich needing an acting coach on set, and Disney reportedly banking on the movie being a flop didn't fill me with much confidence. After the unoriginal remake that was Force Awakens, and in my opinion, the worst Star Wars movie yet, in The Last Jedi, I can honestly say it's the spin-off movies that fill me with more excitement, as these movies in theory offer more creative freedoms and can introduce genres we've never seen incorporated into the universe before. People feel the need to try and give a reason for the existence of Rogue One and Solo, but when has a movie ever needed an obligation to exist aside from the fact to entertain? And this movie does entertain. The bigger the Star Wars geek you are, the more you'll get out of the scenes in this movie, such as Han and Chewie meeting for the first time, Han and Lando outwitting each other, and Han's first time in the Falcon. Not all of these moments may play out exactly how fans will expect, and therefore satisfaction levels will vary, but none of them disappoint. Han is the perfect character to base spin-off movies on. When we first introduced him in A New Hope, Force Awakens, and even this movie, he's already in some sort of trouble, and every day of his life feels like a potential cinematic adventure. Alden Ehrenreich must have been under an immense amount of pressure, being the first actor aside from Harrison Ford to bring one of cinema's most iconic and beloved characters to life. Any fears that Ehrenreich couldn't live up to the magnitude of the role quickly fade within the first few scenes. He's appropriately arrogant, self-assured and underhanded, but balances it so he's not unlikable or smug. And though he's nowhere near as much as the pessimist as Ford played him in A New Hope, that's because this is a different Han at a different period of his life, where he's a lot more optimistic and ambitious, and perhaps most foolishly of all, hopelessly in love. The movie immediately introduces us to a lawless, crime-ridden world where crime syndicates have an immense amount of power and keep desperate poor people in their place and keep them downtrodden. This is the first movie to put focus on the underground world of Star Wars, their gangsters, crooks and killers. Solo does a very good job of keeping the story tight and focused, but also making you feel like this is a very multi-layered and rich universe. Han is a plucky, ambitious swindler who's desperate to be a pilot and travel the galaxy with his love, Kira, played by Game of Thrones' Emilia Clarke. Han's home planet of Corellia has a very Dickensian, galactic Oliver Twist feel. Han and Kira are presented as a Bonnie and Clyde-esque couple, dreaming of a big future together. Han, though presented as dishonest, is very likeable, as you can't help but want him to succeed, because though he thinks he's an outlaw, it's the other characters and the audience who see him for the truly good guy that he is. The movie's first set piece is a chase scene with Han and Kira trying to escape the desolate planet of Corellia. The set piece is used to show early on how good a pilot Han is and how unorthodox his methods are. And though his cockpit dice aren't given an origin, the importance is still shown by Han seeing them as a good luck charm. Though Han manages to escape, Kira is not so lucky. A lot of the big moments in this movie seem to inform Han's character in later movies, being confident in his ability to fly, not fully trusting people, and becoming a lonely pessimist. Han seems like an amalgamation of the characters he meets in this movie, as he picks up their traits and characteristics. Han's typical brand of bad luck, but his penchant for finding lucky and unorthodox ways of getting out of tricky situations, is explored in every set piece of this movie. The chemistry between Ehrenreich and Emilia Clarke is perfectly fine. Though we never get a chance to see their relationship blossom, we're just thrown into their relationship. They're already madly in love, and then later on in the movie, she comes across as detached, but not in a believable or understandable way. Emilia Clarke, outside of the Game of Thrones franchise, has yet to impress me with a standout performance. I didn't see it in Terminator, and I don't think she truly hit her stride here either, as outside of her relationship with Han, she never demands or commands presence in this role. Solo, like Rogue One, forgoes Jedis and magic for a more grounded story. Though Solo doesn't really break new ground with regards to introducing a new genre to a galaxy far, far away, it's a heist movie, but in many respects so was Rogue One. And though it made perfect sense for the characters and their introduction, future Star Wars stories needs to shake up the formula. Music is used to enhance the nostalgic feel at the right times, lending scores from not only A New Hope, with the Imperial March and the Last Battle music being sampled, but the asteroid field music from Empire Strikes Back. This really helps to bridge the obvious connections the movie was going for between the original trilogy and this movie. Han's plan in order to reunite with Kira is to find a way to become a pilot and come back for her. This leads Han to unexpectedly and reluctantly become a member of the Empire. This is a very interesting and unexpected path for Han to follow and was a welcome surprise. We learn that Han's surname of Solo was actually given to him upon joining the Empire as a placeholder. This origin of his name perfectly represents him as a man without a family, tribe or partner. It's in the Empire that Han meets Beckett, played by Woody Harrelson, Rio, a cool CGI character voiced by Jon Favreau, and Val, played by Thandie Newton. Beckett is basically Han version 1, the prototype, as he and his gang are introduced as opportunists, trying to steal equipment from right under the nose of the Empire. Harrelson is perfectly cast as the roguish Beckett, while Rio and Val are ultimately shortchanged in this movie. Rio in particular, being a lively and eccentric character, I personally would have liked to see more of. Han fighting for the Empire is a cool and unexpected journey for the character, and something I definitely wanted to see more of. However, as this movie moves at a quick pace, it was glossed over pretty quickly. Han is desperate to join Beckett's crew, but sold out by Beckett, and is thrown into a pit for the Beast. The Beast turns out to be a muddy, ragged, and imprisoned Chewbacca. I know their first encounter is quite quick and perhaps rushed. It is brilliant and incredibly fun. Chewie's presented as a physically dominating and imposing figure like we've never seen him before, and it's only Han's ability to speak Wookiee that saves his life. Though it's extremely convenient that Han just so happens to speak Wookiee, it's by working as a reluctant team that Han and Chewie manage to escape. Han's the brains and Chewie's the muscle, and humorously, Beckett and his crew only allow Han to join their mission because they really want Chewie. This may not be the origin story of the famed partnership of Han and Chewie people, including myself, were expecting, but it doesn't mean that was a bad direction, just a bit rushed and underplayed. We learn that Beckett has been hired by Dryden Voss, a criminal gangster, to steal coaxium from a train convoy. The coaxium is a vaguely powerful energy source which acts as a MacGuffin for the entire movie. What it does isn't important, the fact that everyone wants it is important. The train heist is fun, fast-paced, elaborate, and extremely well directed, as one of the standout parts of the movie, as Howard, or Lord Miller, or whoever directed that scene, deals with Han, Chewie, and Beckett working as a team, deaths, and the introduction of the Cloud Riders. A lot of moving parts, but none of it feels messy or mishandled. It is because of the Cloud Riders, who hijacked the mission and caused Beckett to lose the coaxium. Han and Chewie's camaraderie is completely on point, and Ehrenreich and Jonas Sutaramo, who's the giant under the Wookiee fur, work very well together. The recast of the character of Chewie has allowed him to be reinvigorated, as he's more fast-paced and intense in fight scenes, though we'll always love Mayhew. Out of any Star Wars movie, Solo gives the most screen time to Chewie, and as he is one of my favourite characters, as being a stalwart of the series, it's great to see him get more of the spotlight. It's from Beckett that Han gets his famous blaster, but it is done in such an understated, blink and you'll miss it moment that I thought was quite strange, as the first image you imagine when you say Han Solo is his famous pose with the blaster. Therefore I feel the movie skipped over a momentous occasion in terms of the mystique and legend of the blaster. Dryden Voss works for the major crime syndicate Crimson Dawn, and Beckett owes Dryden a lot of money. Dryden is presented as the main bad guy of the movie, and it's refreshing for the bad guy not to be some old evil mystic with vague powers and plans to rule the galaxy. Dryden is just represented as a greedy, unhinged, possessive gangster who likes to kill people and likes money. He's therefore probably one of the most realistic underworld villains we've seen from the Star Wars movies. Paul Bettany is perfectly fine in the role, but I would have loved to have seen the original casting choice, Michael K. Williams, in the role. Dryden is a serviceable villain and fits nicely into the plot, but he's underdeveloped and there's nothing groundbreaking here, as the character seems to get engulfed by a movie already filled to the brim with rogues with unscrupulous morals. When meeting with Dryden, Han is reunited with Kira. Nice bit of coinky-dink. Kira's aura is completely different the last time we saw her. She's nowhere near as thrilled to see Han, she plays it cool, and it is slowly yet obviously revealed that she's indebted to Dryden, and has been forced to work for him, and has been branded with the Crimson Dawn mark. Kira has evolved into a killer and a survivor who is capable of anything. Dryden is about to kill Beckett for failing to get the coaxium until Han comes up with an ingenious but dangerous plan of retrieving the coaxium right from the source, a mining colony called Kessel. In order to get the coaxium, they need a ship. Now this is how we're introduced to Lando Calrissian. It's perfectly suitable that Han and Lando's first meeting is over a game of cards. Donald Glover is perfectly cast as Lando. He's sharp, witty and charming, but is also a cocky, underhanded cheat. He's the polished version compared to Han's roguish newbie. The banter Ehrenreich and Glover have is great, and if that failed, it could have really ruined the movie. However, the card game they play is of no real stakes, because though Lando wins, by cheating of course, he still agrees to pile up Beckett and his crew. It just felt like a cool but pointless way to introduce Lando. It's Ehrenreich, but maybe even more so Glover's performances, which are the standouts in this movie. The only thing flashier than Glover's performance is Lando's wardrobe. Lando's first mate is a sassy droid named L3, and much like Rogue One's KS-2O, L3 is brimming with personality. She believes in equal rights with droids and sees humans as oppressors. L3 is yet another character who's shortchanged, and though her death is the most dramatic and emotional, L3 is a character I would have liked to see more of, as she steals the few scenes that she's in. Can robots have genders? Not going down that rabbit hole. The Millennium Falcon is revealed as a gleaming and brand new ship, however it is appropriately parked in a junkyard, yet again foreshadowing things to come. Nice references to Star Wars canon, such as Chewie losing a holochess, tearing out a man's arms, references to the Hook Cartel, and Lando having a whole wardrobe just for capes. Top lad. When they arrive on Kessel, Han and Chewie are presented as slaves, and ultimately, it hits the fan. Chewie helps fellow enslaved Wookiees break free, Han gets the raw coaxium, but sadly L3 is destroyed, though she lives on in the ship. Chewie chooses to stay with Lando and Han, rather than run free with the Wookiees. We get to see the beginnings of bonds that will last a lifetime, of the smuggler family. However, characters make decisions that don't make sense, seemingly just because their fate is predetermined in the earlier movies. Why would Han risk his life to save Lando? Why would Chewie choose Han, who he barely knows at this point? as opposed to running free with his fellow Wookiees. As relationships are preordained, certain character decisions were out of the hands of the screenwriters, Lawrence Kasdan and his son. However, they could have made these decisions feel more logical and less underdeveloped. Lando gets badly injured in the shootout, leaving it down to Han to pilot them out of Kessel. The Kessel Run is a second great action set piece of the movie, and perhaps the highlight. Han's piloting ability is on full display. He fantastically outmaneuvers the TIE fighters and the Maelstrom itself. The Kessel Run feels fresh and exhilarating, but also acts as a great callback to the asteroid field scene from The Empire Strikes Back. Han's first time flying the Falcon is when the nostalgic music is used most effectively. The first time Chewie co-pilots with Han, the feels. Though it feels like the stakes are high in a lot of different scenes, there's no real threat, as you know the fates of the most important characters. We do see Han develop in this movie. From a rogue to a galaxy-trotting pilot he's always wanted to be. You can tell Han feels like he needs to put on this bravado in order to hang with the cool kids, but in this movie, just under the surface, he's still a good guy. Han is not the swashbuckling, smooth hustler he thinks he is, or that he will eventually become. The third act of the film is where it goes a little bit uneven for me, and it feels like a completely different movie. It goes from being fun and carefree to having deep morals. On the planet Savareen, we learn that the Cloud Riders are actually really a group of people who survived their attack from the Crimson Dawn. They're a rebellious group who stand against the crime syndicates and the Empire. This is the seeds of the Rebel Alliance. This hard right turn into seriousness, and for the finale to be on such a small scale, especially in comparison to the Kessel Run set piece, was a strange choice and didn't work for me. The ending also shows too many double crosses. The movie tried too much to outsmart the audience, and ultimately outsmarted itself. Han thinks he's outsmarted Dryden, who outsmarts Han and makes him believe Kira has double-crossed Han, when really Beckett double-crossed Han, and then betrays everyone. However, everyone is outsmarted by Han in the end, but then Kira betrays and kills Dryden. Han helping the Cloud Riders foreshadows him joining the Rebel Alliance. It emphasizes he's a good guy. Lando deserts Han and Beckett and shows his true character, a selfish betrayer, foreshadowing once again events that happen later in the franchise. There's no lightsaber duels, just shootouts and hand-to-hand combat. Because of this, Dryden comes across as a different sort of villain we haven't seen before in a Star Wars movie. Dryden's still a one-note, underdeveloped villain, but with so many awesome characters, I didn't actually want more screen time dedicated to him. The best scenes are Han, Chewie and Lando, bouncing off one another, as well as expanding the universe through characters like L3 and Rio. It's a rich tapestry of offbeat rogues from different pockets of the universe. In a world of cutthroats, double-crossers and rogues, a definitive villain wasn't necessary, as most characters fall into the grey, and that makes this cast arguably one of the most interesting and engaging in Star Wars history. After killing Dryden, Kira chooses taking his place as a major player in Crimson Dawn, then living the dream with Han. These sorts of harsh betrayals creates the Han we meet in A New Hope. We learn that the head of Crimson Dawn is none other than a half-robotic Darth Maul, who has somehow survived being chopped in half from Obi-Wan, from a Phantom Menace, and has left the Sith life behind in order to become a crime lord. This is all covered in shows like the Clone Wars, but to regular fans this will be a shock. Does it make much sense that a presumed dead Sith would reappear as a crime lord? No. Was it completely surprising and awesome to see a beloved cult character return? Yes. Does the fanboy in me want to see Maul play a bigger part in future spin-off movies? Hell yes. More screen time is limited, but awesome. And though this movie is a self-contained story, it's threads like this which give potential for future sequels, which after seeing how good a job they did with this one, especially after the plague and mangled production, I would love to see further adventures with this cast and crew. It's nice to have callbacks to movies outside of the original trilogy, and be damned what people think, there's a lot to like about the prequels, and characters like Maul is one of them. The ultimate face-off in the movie between Beckett and Han is effectively cut short by Han shooting first. No debate. Han cutting short Beckett's monologue and it being somewhat quick and anticlimactic goes against type for these sorts of blockbusters, but it worked well in this scenario. I like that by the end of the movie, Han isn't the fully formed character we meet in the cantina in A New Hope. There's certainly been growth and development for the character, but it would have felt too unnatural if by the end of the credits, he would have fully transformed from a plucky I've got a good feeling about this, to the more morose and grumpy I've got a bad feeling about this, of Ford's version of the character. Hopefully, if we get more sequels focusing on these characters, it will give Ehrenreich time to develop the character further and have it perfectly synced up to Ford's performance. Ehrenreich isn't just mimicking Ford, which is a good thing, as the character is at a different place in his life, and in many ways is a completely different character. Han is true to his word and gives the coaxium to the Cloud Riders, proving he is the good guy. And in a weird twist of fate, it is hinted at that Han actually gave birth to the Rebel Alliance, from aiding this underground faction. The movie ends on a light-hearted note, which after the scenes with Dryden and the Cloud Riders, it really needed. Han tracks down Lando, and they have another game of cards. This time, due to Han's growth as a roguish, street-smart character, he gets the better of Lando, and the Falcon is his, with first mate Chewie in tow. The two gambling scenes are two of the best, as it's Ehrenreich and Glover playing off each other that works so well. And if there is a sequel, I would like to see it more so focused on the trio of Han, Chewie and Lando, rather than just Han and Chewie. The cocky, arrogant, self-assured and ruthless Han we see in A New Hope is hinted at in this final card scene. Han and Kira feel natural as a couple, and the music makes first-time moments like Han flying the Falcon with Chewie feel as monumental as it should. More was an unexpected but ingenious way to revisit a character we left wanting more of. Scenes we've been waiting decades to see, such as Han meeting Chewie, Han winning the Falcon from Lando, are finally brought to life. I give this movie 4 Wookiee wheels. I give this movie 4 rookie reels out of 5. Not Wookiee wheels. Solo gave me everything I want from a Star Wars movie. None of the pretentiousness of Episode 8, but rather fun, action-packed sequences filled with eccentric and weird characters. This is what Lucas gave us in A New Hope, and Solo is the first movie since A New Hope to capture that same fun spirit, and is probably the most similar in tone, aesthetic and style to the original Star Wars movie. A lot of foreshadowing of things to come, having a price on your head, Han shooting first, not trusting anybody, lines like degenerate scum, all ties into the nostalgia and mythology of the Star Wars canon. Because of how fun this movie is, and how it fulfilled a lot of my fanboy wishes, I would have been tempted to give it 5 out of 5, as there were multiple moments throughout the movie where I felt like a little kid watching a Star Wars movie again. It's a nostalgic trip down memory lane, which has helped reinvigorate the characters to make them feel fresh again. It's tons of fun, and has some amazing set pieces. However, the final act didn't really work for me, and I felt like a completely different movie. It left me underwhelmed at how small scale and confined it was. The sharp left turn into morals and refugees of war, and the movie expecting you to suddenly shift gears as quickly as it did, in order to go from a fun, pulpy, carefree time to deep questions of war, felt too harsh, and it's this section of the movie which emphasises that this movie had a lot of issues behind the scenes. Also, because the movie moved at such a quick pace, it meant some pivotal moments and bonds between characters felt like they came and went too rapidly, like Han and Chewie's introduction to one another, and some character relationships and bonds only work because we know they have to, because of the requirements of the earlier movies. The nostalgic callbacks and foreshadowing of things to come for the characters, as well as the franchise as a whole, were great. The train heist, and especially the castle run, were phenomenally exciting, and the movie overall gave the Star Wars universe greater depth and diversity. I would love to see these actors reprise their roles again, so we get to see further adventures of Han, Chewie and Lando, as well as conclusions to the few plot threads it left dangling. Well, that's our review. If you liked what you saw, please like, share and subscribe. See you next time. I like a second language to me, sir. You'll come into play later, you fat b****. And though his cockpit dies... cockpit dies sounds rude. Han is not the swashbuckler...
Is this just an excuse for you to play with your toys?
Liked what you saw and have an interest for travel and adventure? Check out our other YouTube channel, Roman Rookies, as we travel across 14 countries in an 11-month whirlwind of fun and excitement. Just click here or the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.